Welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Check Service Industry Podcast. I'm Reyshan Parker, and if you haven't had a chance yet, please go watch my television series Beyond the Check Worker Owner Edition, now streaming on Amazon Prime and Fox's Tubi TV. Fox's Tubi TV. It's free TV. Cool. Hey, we are hanging out today at Cafe M in downtown Savannah. I have a fantastic guest. She is the owner of said Cafe M. She is going to tell us all about her wonderful restaurant, how she ended up with the restaurant, and what it's like being a restaurateur. Super, super exciting. You want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Cristine Tindall.
Hi, Cristine.
Hi, Reyshan.
Thanks for inviting me into your beautiful restaurant.
Sure, no problem.
It's closed right now, so it's normally way more hopping than it is right now.
Yes, definitely closed, much more quiet.
But it is adorable. It's lovely. It's got a beautiful outside patio.
It does. We actually have one of the biggest outdoor spaces for restaurants downtown. We're pretty lucky.
And it's right by River Street. It's in the heart of like all of the fun tourist attractions. So if you come to visit Savannah, you definitely want to come here and get some brunch and some breakfast. Speaking of brunch and breakfast, tell me about like the hours, what you serve.
Sure.
What's the deal with Cafe M?
So Cafe M is a French bistro. We primarily focus on breakfast, lunch, and brunch. We love that we're in the downtown Savannah area because it does get a lot of foot traffic. A lot of tourists, locals, folks who work downtown do come here as well. But really our specialty that we serve is those breakfast sandwiches, breakfast croissants, our house-made quiches. And we do breakfast all day. Well, only from 8 till 3. So thankfully we are closed at 3 o'clock.
Which is nice because then you get like your whole evening to yourself.
This is true.
Right?
Yes.
It's like having a restaurant and still having a regular day job, like a regular day job.
Absolutely. No, that's, out of all the jobs I've ever done, the fact that it ends at 3 o'clock is probably my favorite part of working in the restaurant industry, at least for breakfast anyway.
And no need to be open beyond 3 anyway, right?
No, definitely not in this area. We are not the nightlife part of downtown that's located elsewhere.
Nice. So did you always want to own a restaurant? Are you a chef? Let's get through that part first. So
truth be told, no. I've only worked in one service industry establishment in my entire life. I worked for a catering company while I was in college in the summer.
That was it?
I've never worked ever in a restaurant or done anything.
What are you doing? What are you doing with this lovely little cafe?
So that's a question I get asked a lot. My background my whole adult life has been in operations of some sort. And I was deployed overseas in 2019, decided I didn't want to do that anymore when I came back. And started looking for alternatives. And this popped up. A friend of mine suggested Savannah because I needed a warmer climate. I've learned when I was in a warmer climate in Kuwait that I was allergic to the cold.
Oh,
so literally.
Literally allergic to the cold?
For the most part. I have a condition that says that you're allergic to the cold. Oh. I have a severe reaction
Stay
sometimes.
out of the walk-in.
Oh, my God. I run through Kroger's freezer department because it's not good for me. But yes, and I started looking at different places. I looked at businesses in Jacksonville, a couple of different places down south. I have some family in Florida, and decided on this because Savannah looked cool. I had never been here before. I only saw it via like a Zoom call when they were showing me what this place looked like, and ended up here.
So did you like come visit and just never leave, or?
No, I came specifically to purchase the cafe.
Like you were buying it before you even got here. You
Correct.
knew you were going to buy it. Mm-hmm. It's still never been here.
No. So that's probably been the best part and the most frightening part. But I was deployed, so obviously in the midst of COVID, which extended that wonderful deployment from 9 months to 12. So instead of being home in August, I didn't get home until
January?
September. Spent a month in quarantine. Thank you, COVID. And then when I got home to New Jersey, I spent some time with my family, drove to West Virginia, packed up my house, and arrived here on the 19th of October of 2020.
And you're like, got myself a restaurant.
If it was only that easy. It took another couple months, but closing costs,
Right.
all the things that happen when you have to acquire a business. And January of 2021, I took possession of this establishment. It was already here, so.
So Cafe M has been here for what, 20?
September 2015, they opened the doors.
They opened in 2015.
Yeah, so the concept and the menu, the original owners were from France, or at least the husband was. Brought his grandmother's recipes, and they opened up this cafe. They did a really good job establishing the presence over the last couple of years, and really built up a following, the tourists, trying to get people downtown as well. And
the locals from
the
outlier areas of Savannah.
They do. That's one of the first things I learned. Locals don't come downtown, but I don't blame them. It can be hectic and crazy, but in our off season when it's slower, they come out.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. But every once in a while, even the locals, we take like a day to I'm going to be a tourist for a day.
Oh,
right?
It's awesome.
And so you can just pretend to be a tourist because we don't come downtown that often. Then it is a little more special.
It is.
Vacation-like.
And you can kind of spot the locals who are doing that. It's kind of interesting to watch. When I first came here, I had a couple months to do nothing because I was waiting for the purchase to go through. So I walked around downtown, I walked into businesses, and everybody in Savannah is real polite. And I'm thinking, well, of course, it's a hospitality industry downtown, and that's what everyone is geared for. But, they'll say things like, what brings you to Savannah? And usually 90% of the time, oh, I'm here on vacation. Well, when I told them I just moved here, they became nicer. And I didn't think that was possible. And I thought it was maybe an anomaly, but I have noticed that throughout my journey over the last 2 years. I do the same thing. I get a local that comes into my store, and my staff gets excited. I get excited. We thank them for coming downtown.
Back all the time.
Yeah, we appreciate their business because really, without them, we wouldn't survive through those, slower months and things. So I wasn't in the anomaly. It's definitely the culture. At least it is downtown, and from the other restaurants that I've visited, they do like the locals.
Hey, locals in most towns is all you really got, So we're lucky here, or at least, a lot of the business are, that it is a tourist destination. And so you do have that influx of just random people, right? So it definitely boosts the business. Anywhere else, you're just like, you have to win over, your local community if you're going to survive in any way, shape, or form.
Definitely.
So it's a double-edged sword, right?
It is.
Because people don't want to fight the tourists who live here.
I like that my customer base changes every day and I get to see new faces, but you do definitely need to patronize, those local establishments when you're local because we appreciate it. I know I do.
Come on down, locals. Come have a wonderful croissant at Cafe M if you live in Savannah. Hang out on the patio. Get yourself a little feel of vacation for the day. Totally. And France. You can vacation in France for a hot second. That's... Just take an afternoon in France at Cafe M.
It's nice. We play French music. It's got a nice relaxing atmosphere.
It does. I really like the outside. I'll put up some images of the outside. There they are. Beautiful, right? So you were in the service.
I am. I actually still am.
So for how long? So after high school, or when did you decide to go into the service?
I joined actually after college. I enlisted when I was 23, 22, I don't know. One of those years. I've been in for 20 and a half years. So right after college, December, right after I graduated that June from college, I ended up joining. I enlisted and then...
What'd you go to college for?
Oh, political science. And with a minor in leadership studies, and that wasn't a thing back in the day. It was something new.
Huh.
Who'd have thought?
Who'd have thought? So you're like, what kind of job do I get from this?
That was a really great question, and I had no idea. My first job when I came out of college was in the financial industry. I worked at a brokerage firm, and then I worked back office, brokerage, mutual funds, that type of thing.
But very businessy.
Yes.
Right?
Very businessy, numbers, things that I wasn't really good at, but for some reason they hired me. It helped my mom work there, and I interned there for a little while. I had a summer job.
All right, but I bet that experience helps now that you are a business owner.
It does. I appreciate numbers. I appreciate the financials. I appreciate that I don't know those things, so I hire somebody to help explain them to me to make sure I'm doing the right thing.
I just hung out with one of those on my podcast the other day.
Oh, very cool.
That will either be out before this or after this one. But yeah, and she was surprised how much I knew about running a restaurant. And I'm like, well, I just worked in them forever. is nobody does their cost analysis really, or if they do it, they half-ass it, and they don't really know what their food cost is. They don't really know what their employees' cost is, and so they call her to be like, hey, can you help us figure this out?
I'm slowly starting to figure out that cost analysis. The previous owners had a great operational package here. That's why I was able to take it over. I can run operations big and small. I've run everything from a small military, squad all the way up to I was a manager for the TSA for 3 years at a international airport. So operations are easy for me. So they had checklists and inventories, and I fell and I said, okay, I get this. It was learning the restaurant part, the service industry part, the customer service part.
The friendly face part.
That is different than working when you're in the government. When everyone hates the government. So.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be happy when you're at work. It's kind of
no one's happy in an airport.
Not in an airport, but in a restaurant. It's kind of a requirement that you smile a little.
But I like that cost analysis and learning, and there's programs and tools out there where you can figure out how much does this cost me to make the sandwich and all that. I'm building that. That's one of the things that I was not already in place when I took over. So figuring that out.
But once it's done, it's super easy.
Right. It does it for you. I just have to get there.
It's just equations, right? It's just equations. You punch into an app. It's an app.
One of my purveyors is through their system. And I can build my recipes and figure out, when eggs prices go up and down like they've been. That's something that I never thought I'd care about.
Oh, that's a great little tool.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. I like it.
So do most purveyors do that? Or
No.
Is it Cisco?
No, it actually, I don't, it's US Foods that has that program. And it was another restaurant owner on Broughton Street, a friend of mine, the owner of Common, that told me about it. And he sat me down and he showed it to me and he showed me how he does his and how his chef does this. And I was like, wow, okay, this is it's not only interesting, but it breaks it down for me. I don't have to figure it out on my own. I thought I had to go buy a program, but it's part, US Foods does it for those who are part of their.
So it's even in your ordering. So it's connect even to your POS system?
Not this one. I think if it had Toast or something, it does.
It does.
We are such a small operation. I don't think I need that. Yeah. It's just a matter of, because my inventory is always moving. It's because we're so tiny. I mean, I have less than 900 usable square feet. And
if it rains, even less.
Oh, gosh. No, that doesn't include the outside.
Oh, that doesn't include the outside? Oh, you got so much more space.
But just no space for storage.
No space for storage.
No, at all.
Well, that's good, because that means everything's fresh.
And it is. We turn it over pretty quickly, so I don't have to worry about things getting lost in the back of a walk-in cooler, because I don't have one. Yeah. I have a big cooler.
Or freezing to death in one then either.
We're getting locked in it, because, that would be bad.
I think there's fail-safes for that now.
I would hope so.
See, most people, if you did work in the service industry, at, some fast-paced restaurant, the walk-in is the sanctuary. That's where people go to hide, to take a breath, to cry, to to do all of those things that you can't let the public see. Or even in the summertime, just standing back there, just cooling off for as long as you can possibly stand.
Because it's hot in the kitchen.
You had a choice between a cigarette break or standing in the walk-in, and you're like, walk in.
I don't have that, but I do have a small little alcove in the back that I have gone back to cry a few times, so I'm not gonna lie.
Hey, you gotta have your safe space.
You do. You can't do it out in front. You can't do it in front of your employees, so you just gotta take a moment.
Sometimes, and then you get it out, and then you feel refreshed, and you go back to work. So you've just been here for a couple years now.
Yep, just about going on my third year. This is my third year here. So not long, and liking it. I love Savannah, and I love the people. I didn't ever picture myself doing this, ever. It was through encouragement.
Well, you're sitting. Where were you when you decided that you found? Where were you when you found the restaurant?
A Starbucks.
How did you find the restaurant?
I was on our base. There's a military installation north desert of Kuwait, and I was in the Starbucks. This was prior to everything shutting down. It was real late at night, and a friend of mine and I were talking, and he's like, "What are you going to do when you get out of the military?" I was like, "Well, I'm going to be in forever." Because that's what I was doing full-time back home.
You were a career military woman.
Yeah, I was full-time with the National Guard in West Virginia. I loved my job. I traveled the country, the world, for free because they paid me.
Yeah.
And I
sound
said,
bad.
yeah, I'm going to do that. And he goes, well, we got to think of what you want to do. And I was like, I don't know what I want to be when I grow up, so I'll figure that out later. Well, through some turn of events and some changes in the culture of the service and a lot of different things, I realized, I was like, you know what? I don't want to do this full time anymore. It's not for me. And it wasn't a snap decision, but over about a month or two of a lot of different things happening, some issues with leadership that I'm just like, you know what? It's not for me. And I always said that if it's not fun anymore, I don't want to do it. And even though I loved my job back home, I loved who I worked with, I traveled 95% of the time.
It's hard to settle down and have any kind of like
as
social life.
Single woman in the middle of West Virginia is not really, unless that's where you want to stay. I always thought I would retire with
Slim
20
Pickens
years.
up there, huh?
I'm just people in West Virginia are great. It's quiet, and it is in the middle of nowhere. But
Appalachian Trail. You can go hiking.
oh, I loved
And then
it.
you can hike some more. And then if you want to hike a little bit more, you can do that.
And get stuck in the woods, which I've done many times.
Just like lost or?
Oh, the GPS took me in a place I should not have been. I got stuck on a boulder. One of my soldiers had to come hitch his truck up to me and pull me out.
Oh no.
Yeah. On Valentine's Day.
Oh,
but his
nice.
wife is awesome about it because I called her because I knew her well. And I was like, I'm stuck. I can't get out. He goes, I know exactly where you are.
That spot where the GPS tries to like kill you.
Did it to me twice in West Virginia. So, but yeah. And so
I had a GPS try to kill us once.
did it tell you to turn left off a bridge?
We were going to my mom's house in Ohio, a trip that I've made many, many times, right? And we have the GPS on, and it's going, and it tells us to get off at this exit, just this random middle of nowhere exit, and it's in Amityville. I shit you not.
Oh,
I
stop.
swear to God, it was the Amityville exit, and we're like, this isn't right. Like, do we get off the highway? I don't remember getting off the highway on anything like this. And it literally takes us back around like this like road, and then onto this dirt road. And then it starts going down to what I don't even know, just blackness in this dead end. And I'm just like, this is definitely not right.
Sounds like you had my GPS.
So we just turned around and hightailed it back out of there. I'm like, did somebody hack into our GPS and try to like pull us into Amityville?
Put you off track. No,
Yeah, it was creepy. Yeah, don't trust GPSs all the time.
I don't.
Yeah. So you'll end up on a boulder or murdered in Amityville. Anyway, so you found an article in a Starbucks.
Well, no. So it was online through a website called Biz Buy Sell. And we were just looking through. I actually was looking at a hazmat remediation company out of Jacksonville because my background in the military is hazmat related. So wearing the suit, the respirator, I was like, oh, I could do that.
Yeah, you make great
Sure.
money doing that.
I know.
Like crime scene cleanup and...
Things I'm assuming. I never looked really into it, but that was something I was considering because I figured if I got to convince a bank to give me money, it should be in something that I'm trained to do.
Yeah.
Or not. But
This seems way, I don't know, cleaner.
a little bit. I think I like the hours here better than I would a hazmat remediation company.
it's-
I think they work off hours,
Probably a lot of middle of the night stuff.
like floods and things.
Oh, floods, yeah.
So, and in that Starbucks, we went through the process. Thankfully, I had really trustworthy folks helping me. People that I could trust, guiding me. Hey, look at this. You got to do an audit. You've got to do this. This is, the bank's process. They've already been through it. So
Like they know if this business makes money, so they know if they...
and how to figure
if it's
out whether
worth
or not,
you to buy it or
it's right
not.
or wrong.
So, and did they retire? Or
No,
where did they go?
Oddly enough, back to where I came from, they moved up to Philly.
Shut up.
So yeah,
You just traded places? You're just like, hey, tell
apparently.
you what,
I have no idea.
life swap.
But yeah, well, and I asked, I was like, well, why do you want to leave? And the husband, he's like, well, I don't like the cold, or I don't like the heat. I want the cold. I was like, have at
So you
it.
life swapped.
Yeah, go ahead and go. But yeah, they live right outside of Philadelphia, not far from a place that I actually recruited when I was living up there. I was a National Guard recruiter for a couple of years.
Small
I've done a lot
world.
of different jobs.
Yeah,
but
you have. Yeah.
And
TSA, recruiter.
I worked.
Some hazmat stuff, apparently.
Well, I did. I was an instructor when we went around the country teaching mass casualty decontamination. So that is what we did.
So when COVID came along, did you have a hazmat suit sitting around somewhere
No,
just in case?
I was in Kuwait when that hit, but those specialized units that we trained, their states use them for certain things because they had the ability to wear suits and masks. And we were doing fentanyl response training before I left for that deployment. We were doing
Fentanyl response training.
Yeah, they would use my soldiers, like we would be on standby, and if they were going to raid a fentanyl manufacturing place, we were there in case the first responders came in contact with it. So
Right,
we could
because
help
like
wash them off.
this much will kill you.
Yeah, so that type of thing. They were just trying different uses for those specialized units, and that was one of the things we were trying out. I don't think it ever went anywhere, but really the
Fentanyl's murder now.
golly.
Finally. Literally, murder. Murder. If you sell somebody a drug laced with fentanyl, you will be charged, and they die, you will be charged with murder now. Yeah. Fun facts.
Something I never thought I'd hear on the show.
Yeah.
Nice. Good to know.
Good to know. So service industry people, that's, make sure you get your drugs from, an accredited source.
Yes.
Because I've truth be told, this is depressing, but I've met so many service industry people, servers that are not with us anymore, just in the service industry, not even in the service, right? In the service industry, war on, how to spend your money appropriately. Anyway, back to you. So you're like hazmat, or I found this restaurant in Savannah that's for sale.
Basically, and yeah. Long story short, sure, but everything was coming back in the positive, meaning the audit came back, their books looked good, everything that the bank now, and then the bank, then everything shut down. April, the cafe shut down from April for about 4 or 5 weeks. I don't remember exactly how long the city.
Before you had it.
Say again?
Before you had it?
Oh, before I had it. And they weathered that storm, thankfully. And then when they reopened, they would send me, I get weekly updates from them because I had to provide that to the bank. Then they kept saying, we're doing better than we did the last year. And that reopening and resurgence. And she's like, I have no idea why. And I'm like, well, that's wonderful. I'm glad you're doing well. Well, because
people wanted out of their house.
People wanted, not only did they want out, they wanted to support the local businesses. And hotels stopped serving their breakfast buffets. And I didn't realize that until I got here when I made that connection. And I was like, because the owners kept saying, well, we don't know why we're doing so well. And I said, well, I'm so happy for you guys. The bank is happy because if you wouldn't have done well, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't approve this loan. And then I got here and I looked around and I was like, hotel. And it doesn't do it justice on a map.
Hotel.
And then
you're surrounded by hotels.
Started asking questions, and I was like, wait a minute. I was like, that makes sense.
Y'all don't serve breakfast anymore?
And so, and people were still traveling, and they needed a place to eat. And I said, well, that's wonderful for the breakfast places. So they did well. And once I got here, it just took a couple of months just to get everything tidied up to the point where we could
rolled over.
Yeah, there were some issues and some bumps along the way. At least 2 times, significant instances where I'm like, this deal's not happening. So I started applying to TSA. I had to resign from my job. There's all these things I had to do. I called my old boss back and said, hey, if I come back to West Virginia, they're like, you've got a job. I'm like, okay. So I had options. Yeah. Well, they had offered me a job in D.C., which is closer to my family in the Northeast, and I had originally taken that. And then when the bank approved my loan, I called them up and said, I'm going to Savannah. And they're like, what? I was like, I quit. They're like, what? I'm like, I
bought a restaurant.
Yeah.
I'm out.
And when I got home and I saw my old boss and he's like, have you bought it yet? And I'm like, no, not yet. He goes, so there's still time. And I'm like, sir, I'm moving. I'm packing up my stuff and going. And they're like, okay. And my family's like, okay.
And it worked out.
It did. It did. Surprisingly, pleasantly surprised. Everything is as smooth as it was. But honestly, it's the community here that I think has made a non-service industry person feel welcome. Because when you never know.
Oh my God, you don't know? Oh, we'd love to show you. We love talking about work and telling you all about it.
And they've been helpful.
Did anybody try to get you to drain the hot water ever? No.
But I've also 20 years in the service. I'm very understanding of those types of jokes. When we send soldiers to the company commander to go do something that we know they're not supposed to do, I've done that. But thankfully, I'm an army of one here, so I have nobody like trying to trick me.
Man, I am super curious about those service jokes, though. Hey, just go tell the sergeant his mom wears army boots.
There are some, and of course, soldiers only find them funny, but yeah. But I'm sure every industry has that type of thing for the new guy.
Oh yeah, the hazing.
But honestly, at least from the folks I've met downtown, it does, like, they've been unbelievably welcoming. It's been great. Like, I can't say enough about the restaurant owners that I've met personally, and they're like, how can we help you? And I'm like, really? I come from the government. Nobody wants to help you in the government.
No, Savannah's very community based because you want to succeed. You want your fellow business people to succeed. And particularly if you're not in competition, like direct competition.
And they're even the ones that are like, because like you said, the foot traffic we get and the tourists that are so nice to travel to our city, there's enough to go around. And there's people that are, if they're not going to go here, they're going to go somewhere else. If I'm busy, I try to send them to like somewhere else. Somewhere
good.
Yeah.
Right. We're not going to say anything else about that. Though, my God, have I heard some horror. Just the other day, I heard some horror stories about one of your neighbors that was just so shocking. Cafe M is amazing, though. You guys are great.
We try.
I send people over here.
Well, that's good.
It's like,
Thank you.
Where can I go get breakfast? Because I work happy hour up at Treehouse sometimes.
Oh, okay.
You're like, where do I eat?
Okay, very cool.
Get over to Cafe M.
I appreciated that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Because, you in France? Do you like croissants? Do you like breakfast sandwiches? Do you like a lovely patio where you can just sit out and sip your espresso with your croissant sandwich?
And people watch, because that's fun.
Mm-hmm. It is super fun. So, do you think you're going to retire with this place? Is this?
So this is my retirement in terms of I used my retirement
to get this
to help with the business acquisition. So if it fails, I'm in trouble.
I think you'll be okay.
I don't see me retiring now. I see me doing something else. What that is, I have no idea. There's never, like my whole life, there's never been that I want to do this when I grow up. I just wanted to be a successful contributor to society, and I didn't really necessarily care specifically. All the jobs that I got, like the TSA job, I was an anti-terrorism officer. The service prepared me for that, and that's what got me in and got me hired.
Don't mess with Cristine Tindall. She looks like just a nice, sweet little lady, but I bet she could take you.
I don't know.
I
just want my staff to think that, and I'll be all right.
Right. Mm-hmm. Like, I know jujitsu.
They actually kind of teach us that.
Yeah, I figured they did. Okay. Yeah.
There's grappling involved.
I feel like you could probably kick my ass. That's all I'm saying. I don't want to find out, but I feel like she could. So were you into French food before? Like, was there zero connection, any way, shape, or form? You were just like,
not even a little bit.
Do you love croissants?
Well, I do, but not enough to say I want to buy a restaurant that makes them. My family's Italian, and food is great. It's my little sister actually is more suited to run this restaurant than I am. She was went to school for culinary. She went to Johnson & Wales for a while, then the Atlantic Culinary College. She worked at a 5-star French restaurant. She worked at the partner bakery for that 5-star fresh restaurant, and I was like, hey, if you need a job, you can come down here. I will hire you to run my place.
Be my head chef.
But for the most part,
beautiful.
Yeah, it's definitely not. It's not in my blood. There's no one that I know in my family that except my cousin. And
well, you don't need to be able to cook to be a good owner, to be a good leader. To be a good person, right?
True.
To keep your employees happy, right? Like, you just need to be there for them. And
I learned all of that, thankfully, a long time ago, my first deployment in Iraq. So how I didn't want to do it, how all the mistakes I made with my soldiers, and that type of environment. And so I try not to repeat my mistakes.
Oh, you learned to do the opposite of the military.
Of what didn't work?
Of what didn't work. So you're telling me that this hard-nailed like approach of beating it into you is not really like the best approach to getting people to do what you want?
It is when you're under fire, but not civilians.
Not
I
people.
learned that.
Not people can just walk away.
No. That's one of the things. Gosh, I learned that was probably the hardest is that HR portion of the business owners have to do. That you don't have an entire HR department as a small business owner hiring and firing and going through that. And I tell anybody that I hire, I'm like, I'm not a normal restaurant owner. I know that. I've read enough books. I've talked to enough restaurant owners to know that I'm not the norm. Traditional, right. But I know my leadership style. I know how I like to do things. And I don't believe in that whole, no chance, second chance thing that you'll see in a lot of the entry level jobs. Like, oh, you're late, you're fired. This generation of kids, they don't respond to that way. No. And I learned that, and my soldiers taught me that. And, how to really, I had 136 soldiers when I was deployed in my company. And they were all different, ranging from a 17-year-old kid out of high school all the way up to older than me. And I'm not going to say my age, but so you can't. It's not a one-size-fits-all
Not a
type
Davey
of
on
thing.
23.
Now you're my new best friend. Thank you.
Oh, I try. So is there like a favorite thing that you have here? Is there, do you have a thing that you come in and are like, every morning I have this? Or do you have something different every day? Do you eat here?
I've eaten everything on the menu, and I like everything on the menu, which is unusual just in general. Like, there's not a thing I wouldn't eat. But I've learned people in the restaurant who work in a restaurant don't eat. They don't get a chance to eat. They don't have time to eat. We forget to eat. We forget to drink. We forget to go to the bathroom. Very much like being in the military. So I fit right in.
Hurry up and wait.
Yeah, there's not one thing that I think my go-to when I'm like, I'm hungry. I shove a pastry in my mouth, and keep moving. But
it's delicious.
Yeah.
When they're there.
I try the pastries, but I can't. Otherwise, I'd have to put myself on a diet. I'd be in so much trouble.
How do the French do it?
I have no idea, because but portions are smaller in Europe.
Portions are smaller. The food's more natural.
True.
Right? Like we can't even get the flour that they get over there. Like we ruined all of our flour. I can't even find like pasta flour anywhere. Like the semolina flour.
You can't, like, not even in the store.
No Kroger's, Whole Foods. Like I've looked everywhere for just because.
Not even Whole Foods.
Yeah.
God.
I'm like, semolina flour, the flour you use to make pasta. I'm like, oh, we got all purpose. It's for everything. No, wrong flour. It's semolina. Okay. Like, there's Italian grandmothers just rolling over there in the graves.
That's what I was just thinking. I had never had the pleasure of meeting mine, but I'm pretty sure she would have done that. And she would.
What? What do you mean you can't buy semolina flour? I know. So if anybody knows, or if I'm just crazy or blind and I can't see it in the store, somebody let me know. Yeah, please.
Very cool.
Anyway, what are you having for dinner? Do you know?
No, actually.
Me neither.
Not even a little bit. I couldn't even tell you.
What did you have for dinner last night?
I didn't.
Oh no.
So last night, funny story. Well, to me, we went. I'm a member of the American Legion on Tybee, and we went there to test the AV system because they're having a beach bum coronation tomorrow night, and I'm part of the committee for the beach bum parade, and we're testing these things out. So we're sitting at the bar testing the AV system. Had a couple drinks. I only had 3. That's all it took.
Forgot to have dinner.
Yeah. Got home, went to bed. Did not, which is unusual. Normally, we're usually barbecuing or grilling or something.
Tybee will get you. It's Tybee.
Gosh, but I'm not gonna make that same mistake.
Yeah.
We'll be eating something. I just don't know what.
Maybe some pasta.
I love pasta. I think that's what my boyfriend made last night for the kids and everyone else. I did not eat it. I went to bed.
Leftovers in the fridge, though.
Oh, I love leftovers.
So
they're my favorite.
Maybe you just sneak home and have them leftovers. Take yourself a little nap. Have a juice too.
Yes, I do.
Recover from Tybee time.
Very true.
Very true. You know, Tybee has different hours of operation for their alcoholism.
It's every hour.
Yeah, it's like, but there's a bar. So a friend of mine bought a bar out there. He's like, our busiest hours are between 6 a.m. and 11 a.m. And I'm like, are you what?
Really?
What? Are you kidding me? They're like, yeah. It's just all like the old Tybee people. They wake up, they go, it's two for Tybee. I think that's what it's called. It's 2 for Tybee. So you get drunk twice a day, once in the morning, and then you go home.
How do I not know this?
You take a nap, and then you get up and you go back out for like dinner and happy hour. And
Nice.
You get drunk again, you go home, go to sleep, wake up at 6 in the morning, do it all again.
Oh gosh.
I don't think these people work.
Well, yeah.
I imagine they're all retired, actually.
I can't. I could not do that. That would not be a good day.
He's like, oh yeah, we crush it, like 6 in the morning to 11, like Tybee time.
That's
what they
awesome.
do. We gin and tonics for breakfast. Like, okay.
Oh my gosh, that makes sense.
Right?
All right.
Uh-huh.
I had no idea.
So you've learned something new. So if you want a day drink, Tybee doesn't give a shit.
Oh no, there's no judgment.
No,
No.
it's Tybee. It's its own little world. Anyway, can we follow you anywhere?
Yes.
Where can we follow you?
Well, we are number one. Our website. We just revamped our website.
Cool.
So it got a little makeover. So the cafeamsavannah.com. And we are on Instagram at Cafe M Savannah. And we are on Facebook, Cafe M Savannah.
So just Google Cafe M Savannah.
Pretty much.
You'll find it. Also, all those links are in the description. So feel free to go click on those. And follow Cristine and Cafe M, because this place is adorable. It has wonderful food, wonderful coffee, and wonderful people.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks for letting me come hang out at your restaurant today. And I guess I'll be back for brunch.
Oh, sweet.
Cool.
We do bottomless mimosas, so.
Oh, somebody asked me the other day, where can I go get bottom? Like, I'm not sure where bottomless is. But
No. Yeah.
every
right
day
here.
or just Sundays?
No, every day.
Every day.
Open to close, except Sunday, not until 11 because of the alcohol law.
You can't drink till 11:30.
Nope.
Right. But otherwise, every day, bottomless mimosas at Cafe M. Who knew? You know now. Come grab some and a croissant sandwich. How can you go wrong?
True.
Make sure. Awesome. Well, thanks, Cristine.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Have a wonderful rest of your day and enjoy that leftover pasta.
Okay. Thank you.
Cool. Hey, go watch my TV show. Cheers.